Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sunken, a Coven of Silence, a rescheduled game from our holiday one-shots in October where we were raising money for Patio Wear. We made it. It's a little late in the year for spooky stuff, but it's never late, and it's always a perfect time for horror. I'm Mare, I use they, she pronouns, and I will be your game master for the day, the helm of the world. As I mentioned before, we are raising money for Patio Aware, a organization that raises money for oceanic conservation. Before we get started, I'm going to have all of my players say hi and introduce themselves and the name of the character they are playing and maybe their job on the ship as well. We will start to my right on the overlay, which is Lillie.
Hello. I am Lillie. I use she, they pronouns, and my character is named Castor, who is the naturalist, and they use she, they pronouns as well.
That brings us up to JD.
Hey, I am JD. I use he, they pronouns, and I will be playing Lee, who is the salvager on the ship. He uses he, him.
And last but not least, we have Siphonos.
Hello, I'm Siphonos. I use they them and also the C pronouns, which is my own neopronouns, and I'm going to be playing Hurra bint Abdullah, who is the navigator of the ship, and she's just happy to be here.
As Derek already mentioned in the chat, Sunken is a horror game. Death is one of the better options that happen in this series. So we will be, this specific module that we'll be running has content warnings for insect-like creatures, body horror, and all that fun stuff. But it always can evolve into something a little more gross or more horrific or disturbing. And your safety is important over here. So if you need to step away, please do so. Your safety is important, and if you ever want to come back later, the VODs will be posted for your viewing pleasure. Before we get started on the game, this is a charity game. I said we were raising money for Patio Aware. If you want to learn more about the organization, I just put everything in chat. You can go learn more at patty.com/aware. We also have charity incentives to raise money for Patio Aware. So if you put exclamation point incentives in chat, it will bring you to the Tiltify where you can donate. You can help or hinder our players. So for $10, you can donate a flesh die, which is a good thing. As disturbing as it sounds, a flesh die is a bonus for our players that get added into a group pool that our players can pull from to add to their rolls to have a better success. For $20, you can reduce a player's level of fall by 1. All of my players have basically a counter behind the screen where if they reach 5 fall, their character is dead. And if you want to see more of them as we play, make sure their fall doesn't hit 5. For $25, you can bestow a boon to a player of your choice. 1 boon per character per act. It is like a nice little bonus. And last but not least, for $30, you can bestow a condition, usually detrimental, to a player of your choice. This will be a total of 2 per character, just because when you get a new condition, you're just going to give them conditions. Whenever they gain a fall, they gain another condition. But if you want to make their lives harder, just give them conditions. It's fun little stuff. Some can start growing gills, secreting slime, increasing paranoia. Drinking seawater is one of them, too.
Well, that's helpful.
Yeah, just drink some seawater. It's fine.
Okay. Okay.
It's fine.
You need the sodium.
Salt isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything else before we get started? I don't think so. Let me just make a note on flesh pool dice so I can help keep track of the totals that you will get throughout the game. Okay. Let us begin. And she remained. She drifted for months since the audacious ribald fowl took her sails and slaughtered her hands, irreparably hobbling itself in the process. The few who survived the pilfering excursion had seen the face of the East Passage Company's most terrible secret and attempted to scuttle the whole damn thing. But she was built too resilient to sink by human hands, even guided through a few divine whispers. Instead, she became a corpse island, a husk still bearing treasures and curses, dreams and nightmares. The company searched for her, but she laid low in dangerous waters, a shadow skittering through a dark sea. Still, destiny has not written its end to the Nicodemus, and she waits to be born again. Did we decide on a ship name for all of you? I saw a couple names in chat.
Lillie, you didn't comment.
I didn't have a really good suggestion, so I will go along with what anyone else has said.
Which I think was the Ascendant.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that too. Yeah.
So the three of you are crew on the Ascendant, a ship part of the Pursuit, a company built on, I believe it was discovery and competition. The three of you in your ship, the Ascendant, have been sailing, doing trade routes, looking around, making new discoveries, where earlier this morning, your ship came across a huge floating ship in the distance. It was quiet. The sails were ripped. From a distance, it was difficult to see, but it looks like there were soot and burn marks upon the hull and the deck. And upon closer investigation, you and the rest of your crew realize that this is a treasure that has been left out at sea. This is the Nicodemus, a lost ship that was once part of the East Passage Trading Company, the largest and most renowned trading ships out there. And this was a fabled ship that was carrying a lot of goods and spices and other trading goods that went missing a while back. And so your captain, Captain Callisto Everhart, has put down anchor. The crew has tied the two ships together with rope. And the whole crew is looking aboard to see what they can find and to see if there is anything salvageable. When the three of you begin to figure out what you're going to do, just from a visual cursory glance from the Ascendant, you see that every board is charred, shattered, or just covered in grime, slime, dirt, other things that I don't want to get into. And also there are these weird coral barnacle-like things growing on many parts of the deck and hull. What are each of your characters doing? And also tell us what y'all look like as you begin to, at the command of your captain, begin to look around.
I'll start. So Castor would probably actually wait for the most of the other people to debark or swap onto the new ship that we have just found. They're not interested necessarily in treasure that can be quantified like money or jewels or that sort of thing. They would be interested in finding out if there is anything scientific aboard this ship. So that's what they would definitely try to search out. And Castor is about 5'7". They have dark hair that is up underneath a head wrap, so you don't really see it. and their skin is like a really deep, dark brown. And when you look closer, you might notice kind of a metallic sheen that doesn't quite look human. And their eyes are like a really bright brown. And they don't quite blink as often as you might expect one to blink.
So, where do you plan on looking for this scientific information and scientific treasure? The entire top deck, as I already mentioned, is it has been burned to carnage. The rigging is in disarray, and you can see a lot of storm-worn surfaces. This, just basically looking at it, it seems that the ship has been out at sea for a very, very long time. Every once in a while, as the ship like sways in the waves, some miscellaneous like weapons, blades, and tools just kind of like slide across the deck. And also, as I mentioned before, there are these really big, massive barnacles everywhere. And if you're just like getting your bearings before like actually going anywhere, some of the other crew members like walk by. They kind of, these like thin stalks are like that are snaking out of the barnacles, kind of like look at the crew as they walk by, and then just kind of like come back and like sit stationary, swaying in the wind.
Yeah, that would definitely interest Castor, but I think they'd be on a mission to head to the captain's quarters, because I feel like the captain would be across everything that was going on the ship. They would have reports, whether they be having to deal with the weather or other ships that are there. Perhaps reports from their superiors. So like that would be kind of where I think Castor would consider like the important like paperwork and like physical kind of evidence of what happened here and what was going on and what they were doing.
Sure. The officers' quarters, it's not necessarily going to be the just the captain's quarters, but where all the officers would be. So first mate, captain, et cetera, is towards the back of the ship, and down one level. When you get there, the door does not open. It is not necessarily locked, but it is not opening from a casual, just like, oh yeah, you twist the knob and you go in. It seems like it's like blocked or something like that. Is there anything you would like to do?
I think they want to try to force the door open.
Okay, so we have our first roll of the game. So what you will do is you will build your dice pool. You will first grab any flesh traits or descriptors that you think would assist.
Okay.
Are there any here that you think would work? This goes from your occupation and your background. I think the one from your background would help.
So there's perseverance, which I feel like possibly,
Yes.
like, yeah, she really wants to get this door open.
Fauna, penmanship, and dissection I don't think would count. But even though you haven't started, even though you haven't started with any fall and deep dice, you always have the option to add deep dice to increase your chance of success.
Okay.
The only thing is if it is, I think, the highest roll, if you, the deep die, if it's the highest roll or your highest roll matches your highest roll, you will gain a level of fall in a condition. So right now you're only rolling with one die unless someone wants to like donate more flesh dice.
Can I make a bid for her background being unexpected automaton, that she might have more than human strength, like better than average?
That's where the perseverance comes from.
Oh, that's okay. All right. Awesome.
You could write on the door, maybe be like open, and then it's initiative.
So right now, unless you want to add deep dice, you will only be rolling with 1d6, and you need like a 4, 5, or 6 to succeed.
Right. Okay.
So it's up to you.
let's throw in a deep dice. Yes, let's do it.
All right, let me
I
know
will
what you
do
get,
one.
please.
And I got a 4, and the deep dice is a 4, and my flesh dice is a 2.
Okay, so you're going to gain 1 level of fall because the deep dice is your highest, but you do succeed. But you succeed with a complication. So please tell me what this looks like as you are able to bust in.
Okay, I think I feel like there really is not any kind of finesse at all. It's just like the door isn't it opening, so they're just gonna like put their forearm against like the knob and like push really hard with all of their strength. Um, so it means that they're kind of tumbling into the room when the door gives.
Okay. And what I will say, your complication is this isn't necessarily in the main core of the rulebook, but it is mentioned in another module. But the automatons in the system don't have regular blood. They secrete like this. Oh God, I want to change that just because I'm going to change the color because reasons. But it is a like bright blue.
Okay.
So when you bust in, you do get injured and begin bleeding, not the regular color of blood.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's going to be your complication if you don't want
Okay.
anyone to know you're an automaton. I will also send you your condition in a second.
Okay.
But basically, when you bust into the officer's quarters, your senses are hit with this sweet, sickly meat smell of decay, feces, and a huge mess on the inside. You see several dead bodies, emaciated and desiccated, strewn about the floor. But you do see some pretty navigational instruments that seem to be still in good condition, some fine clothes that are a little worn but still in good condition. But it's kind of gross in here. There's basically the door was barred from the inside to keep something out. And you
Mm-hmm.
just see they don't seem to be officers. They're not wearing fine clothes. These dead bodies are seem to be regular crew.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting because where are the officers?
I don't know.
I think if there's anything that Castor can actually like any papers or navigational equipment that Castor can actually just pick up and like take out of this room because they are not wanting to stay here either. Then that's what they would do.
I will say you can grab the captain's log.
Okay.
That's probably the most valuable thing in this room, along with some like
Yep.
shipping papers and so on and so forth.
Okay. All
Um,
right.
and
Yeah,
I
then
yeah.
that's what they're gonna grab. Pick up that captain's log and then I think like close the door like very firmly behind them again. Like you don't want this smell like permeating the rest of the ship.
No,
Um,
absolutely not.
oh, I think though before they do leave, they're gonna look and see if there are any of those like barnacle things that were on the ship when they boarded.
Sure, I'll say inside the room there's not really any in here.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Just curious.
Um, Hura or Lee?
uh, I'll go. Unless do you wanna? Okay. So did you so Hura is like definitely gonna be interested in like seeing the ship, and she's just gonna go out and like look at it. Can from the outside, are we able to discern what it was loyal to? Did you say that?
Yes. You would know that this was the East Passage Company.
Okay, then yeah, she's definitely gonna board with the rest of them and probably just go inside and like see what's about, see what's inside the ship and how much damage was actually done to it,
Sure.
I think.
Did you want to describe your character?
Oh yeah. So Hura is so she wears a veil like me, probably the same one kind of thing, with like a very ocean theme. But then she also wears jilbab, which is like the really really long dress, and at the end is the trim is like constellations, and on top of that she'd likely just have like a long dark blue coat, and yeah, she has light brownish skin and um light brown eyes, I'd say. Like golden flecks in them and stuff.
And where did you want to go look around?
So I think I'll probably see Castor already exploring the office's room, right?
Hmm.
Um, so I think I'd look towards going inside the decks,
Okay.
if there's a downstairs or anything.
Yes. So you have the Derek, don't come at me if I mess up my ship anatomy, please. But yeah, this is a very, very large ship. It is, you got the real bottom, the keel, which is where all of like the water, it keeps it afloat. You have the basically two floors underneath the deck and then the main deck.
Okay.
Um,
Probably just the
Good.
floor directly beneath at least, I guess.
Sure. This is where the cannons are scattered, and they used to be all nice and lined up, like the barrels, like pointing outside the ship, and now they're just kind of going everywhere. They have been just hit by the sea and the waves, and they're just kind of all over the place. You see a bunch of
Mm.
splintered boards, crushed skeletons, now just shattered because of this heavy iron moving all over the place. Shredded uniforms and some really pretty navigational equipment is strewn about as well.
Oh, well, I'm definitely heading towards the navigational equipment and seeing what I can like discern from there. Like, where was it navigating to? Is there a specific route they were looking for?
Sure. So make me a roll, please.
Woo!
And I
Okay.
believe you are the navigator.
Yes, I am. So, is that just one flesh dice for that, or do I get any other? Because like charts, I'm the
I'm going to
navigator, or is that?
say so basically, when we are all rolling, this applies for everyone. You're going to look at your traits.
Yep.
So you can actually roll all three of your occupation dice. This is going to be weather, charts, and stars.
Yep.
If you want, you can also add flesh dice, not flesh dice, deep dice, but you do not have to, of course.
Yep. I'll just go as is then.
I would also actually say you can add your background trait as well. These are very valuable.
Woo!
So you can
Yay.
roll all four of your flesh dice.
Okay. Okay. I got three threes and one six.
Okay, so you only needed one success. The six is going to be a full success with no complications.
Oh, wait, one of them was a five.
No, still, you got a six, so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Normally, you would describe what happens, but since this is me giving you information, I'm just going to tell you what you learn. So it looks like the last time that these equipments were used, they're still stuck in that orientation. There's also a couple small like scraps of like notebooks jotting down notes from the previous users. But when you look at this and you begin analyzing what was being looked at, there is a just like drop in your stomach. I don't know how big Hura is into like omens and stuff, but all of what's in that was being observed in this navigational equipment is dark omens in the stars and visions of far off places. So something bad.
Ooh, okay. I feel like. Ooh, okay. So I feel like she's not. So she doesn't follow any saints, but she's probably heard of others who have and can probably um discern that that this looks bad. So she's probably gonna take them and keep going down the decks and just like seeing if she can look more into like the damage that actually happened to the ship. Like, did the fire start on the inside or the outside? Was it cannon fire or something
Um,
else?
you cannot tell. if it
Got
was
it. Okay.
actual cannon fire or just someone setting fire to something in chaos. Because obviously, you don't need to make a roll to realize that something chaotic happened on this ship.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back. Lee.
Lee had held off on boarding the ship for as long as he could. He just stood there, his sandy brown hair kind of blowing in the wind where it's not tied back at the nape of his neck, waiting and watching. He stood at a distance from the rest of the crew, attempting to not make it super obvious that was what he was doing, but making sure he was not really close enough for conversation or anything else. And I think as we watch him step onto the Nicodemus, he is dressed in very like neutral colored clothes, nothing flashy, which perhaps is surprising given that he is the salvager and he is focused on finding the nicest things that can be obtained from ships that are found and made in discoveries. But he very much dresses down in a way that does not draw attention to himself. And I think we see him start by heading towards the officers' quarters because, of course, there would be valuable stuff there. At which point he sees Castor and immediately just turns on his heel and heads in the opposite direction, um, and leaves them to that. And I think his logic is, well, everyone expects to go to the officers' quarters when they board a ship because, of course, the nicest things would be there. So why would they keep the nicest things there? And so he's looking for a spot on the ship where it's going to be less prone to damage and destruction, where there could be some, we'll say, surprises hidden.
So, the next place that you would look that would probably have valuables would be the hold, where everything is being transported for trade, for selling. You do walk past Huda as she is still in that the gun decks, going down the stairs and going deeper into the ship. The You do see a couple other folks of your crew beginning to carry up like crates of like dried meat, spices that weren't necessarily in the hold, but still like easily accessible for like the galley and such like that. But the deeper you go, the darker it gets, of course. Do you have a lantern of some sort? Did you bring a lantern? Because there is nothing currently on the walls.
I would imagine that Lee would have, just given what his occupation is.
Makes sense. The As you go down deeper and deeper, though, you what's the best way to put this? You are met with dark soot ropes going across the halls, and you do eventually see a large iron gate where a bunch of valuables would be kept. It is seems to be some kind of vault door. You'd also get a smell of moistness and like vinegar, very acidic as you go further and further down.
Don't love that, but that's fine. All of this is so fine. Lee is going to try to see what needs to happen to get through this vault door.
As you get closer with your torch or your lantern, you do see that there is a huge crack in this iron door. There is also seems to be it has cracked open enough to where you can kind of look inside. It's really dark, but you can see to the other side if you do look.
I would like to look.
When you get closer, you do see these barnacles in this gap that you saw earlier on the deck. They seem to be a little smaller down here. And when you peek your eye in, you smell more of that acidic smell. And faint whispering from the inside of the hold.
Lee is going to call out and see if he gets a response from the whispers.
Oh, wow. Creepy. You do not. They seem to stop for a second when you call out, though, like listening. But then they start up again, but not in response to you calling out.
Can I make out the words that they are saying at all?
Ooh. You will need to make a roll for this. I don't think any of... I will say history kind of... You know what? Dismantling. Dismantling what the words say. I think that's a good... It's a stretch, but it's... I don't want you to roll nothing. You can also... You're the only one in the group who has taken a saint, so you do need to roll 1 deep die. So you... unless you want to add more deep dice, you're going to roll 1 deep die and a flesh die.
Sounds unfortunate, but good. That is 2 6s.
Wow. So increase your level of fall, please. But this is a full success. Okay. So what you hear kind of... There's a split second as you're listening to these words, like when you kind of like feel like vertigo. You know, when you're sitting down and you stand up super quick, you feel like you're just like about to fall over. Your your mind separates from your body for like a split second, right? That's the vibe you get when you start listening to these voices. But you hear a lot of mumbled whispers talking about the fate of the stars, but also a lot of mundane hopes and desires of like regular ass people. They seem to be, there's like a euphoric tone to them, but not really a conscious one. They seem to be like in a state.
There is a part of Lee that wants to get closer to these voices. And I think we see him reach out and like touch his hand to those barnacles, almost like he's going to try to push through. And then he stops.
Do you touch the barnacles?
I do.
Okay. When you touch them, there is kind of like a little like puff of dust that comes out from them. And basically in your direction. I will need you to make some kind of roll to like, unless you don't move, but if you're trying to avoid these, it's your choice. Do you try to avoid them?
You know, I think I do.
Okay.
I think that sort of like is enough of a shock to Lee's system that he realizes the poor choice that he just made and wants to not experience the ramifications of his own actions.
Okay. So I don't think any of your occupations or backgrounds would count, but you could roll one of your fleet traits. This is kind of a competition to stay alive.
Okay,
well, not
cool.
alive, but you know.
We'll take that.
I'm not going to do this as an actual roll, but this is just a general one, so I'm not going to ask you to roll deep dice. This is my my GMing because I said so.
That is a 4.
Okay. You are able to get out of the way. You don't get hit by it. You don't inhale anything. You are okay. I am also going to send you a condition because your fall went up by 1 due to a failure. Okay. Let's switch back to Castor. Castor, what are you doing?
So, would it have been possible for Castor to hear JD like calling out when he was trying to speak to these things.
JD, how loud were you?
I don't think Lee was particularly loud. I think it would depend, I guess, on how far apart we were and how deep in the ship I was
Yeah,
at that
I
point.
don't think you would have heard Lee Castor, just because there are other people moving around, there are other people talking, and you are almost like there's like at least one or two floors separating you. So unless you started going downstairs
Hmm.
or like on the same floor, then probably not. So it really depends where you were going after Lee saw you walk out of the
Right.
officers' quarters and then like turned around, which is not new behavior.
No. Um, yeah, I think I clocked Lee, but I think Castor's just really interested in looking at this captain's log, to be honest, and might even return to their own ship to like dig into this and take a look at what's written in this log.
Sure. So you can head back to the ship, walking across the long strip, the gangplank that was stretched between the Nicodemus and the Ascendant, and you can begin looking at that. I can give you more stuff later about that. It's mostly just where they've been, who you've traded with,
Hmm.
the weather patterns, and so on and so forth. But there's also a lot of information in the trading logs,
Hmm.
like what's on the ship, which you can easily be cross-referenced for what's actually being brought in.
Hmm. Hmm.
So actually, like when you come back over to the Ascendant, Captain Callisto like looks over your shoulder and she's like, "Those are the inventory."
Yeah, yeah. I was actually thinking maybe I could just take a look at everything that's coming aboard and kind of compare it and make sure what we're bringing aboard is not contraband.
And if it is contraband, it's contraband that we can sell. I'm glad we both think alike. Keep an eye on what's coming over as the crew brings everything over. Cross reference.
I think Castor is gonna like stare for like a couple of moments and like it's like inside their head they want to be like doing a wink but they can't actually manage.
A double-eyed wink.
Yeah.
Wait.
It's just like,
Oh my god.
okay.
Okay. Huda,
Yes.
after you
Um,
have looked at the gun deck, where are you headed?
well, I mean, I was just gonna like go through the whole deck, so I think I actually would have been heading downstairs a little bit after Lee. So, I mean, I was just a deck above him. So would I have eventually heard him, do you think?
Maybe not hurt him, but definitely
Okay.
like while you're like
Heading
looking
somewhere.
around, you would see him.
Oh,
Probably just as like he's pulling back from like getting not sprayed in the face by these barnacles.
then yeah, she's gonna go straight up to him and be like, "Oh, what have you got there?"
Lee like flinches back and moves as far away from you as he can in these close quarters and
Are you moving into where you just pulled out into?
probably more off to like the side.
Right.
Like, yeah, just trying to sort of back away because he doesn't want to get closer to the barnacles. He also does not want to get closer to you. And I think he does say, I wouldn't touch those. I would keep your distance from those.
Uh, she. Oh, 1 second. Okay. Sh okay. She would be like nodding along, and then also go like, "Oh, you mean these?" and touch the thing.
I'm gonna also ask you to roll a flesh die.
Right. Okay. Let's go. 5.
Okay.
Phew.
I will say this is a success with a complication. So you don't completely avoid it. So you do get like a small little inhale, small little sniff. And it's not super strong, but you do feel like it's probably not too different than your current personality, but like a little euphoric, a little extra happy, but it's not like you're high.
Yeah. Then she's gonna be, oh, what do you mean? They smell nice though. Haven't you tried it?
I would rather not. I don't know that we should be. Do you hear the whispering?
Do I hear the whispering?
If
You
you
probably wouldn't
if you like stop talking and listen,
have. Okay,
yes.
yeah, she's gonna be like, what whispering? And then try to listen out to see if she can.
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's coming from inside the gate, the vault, right?
The whole yes.
Yeah. She's yeah, she's oh yeah, I did hear it. Is there somebody else here? And she's gonna try to like go like poke her head into the vault, I think.
The crack isn't big enough. It's still shut and
Damn,
kind
okay.
of like
Oh, I see.
and like held shut with all like these ropes and such like that, but it's the crack isn't big enough to poke your head in.
Okay. Can she look through it though? Just to the darkness.
It's dark. You can't really see
Yeah.
anything, but yes. It as you do get like a little closer, your senses are also you smell the acidity and the moistness.
Hmm. Yeah, did is there somebody in here?
I don't think so. I mean, no, nobody responded when I called out to them.
Hmm. Maybe we should tell the captain. Somebody. It could be that they can't answer, or maybe it's just the wind.
Wind doesn't usually form words.
Oh, what did they say?
It's nothing. I sometimes our mind plays tricks on us, right? I think you're right. I will go talk to the captain, but don't don't touch anything while I'm gone, like the barnacles again.
Okay, I'll probably maybe I'll try looking in the lower decks. Maybe there's another way into this room from a different angle.
Be safe.
As Lee, you begin to head back up, and Huda, you begin to like walk around, continuing to look. Castor, you're probably the only one who actually sees this, as Huda's still below deck and Lee is beginning to head up to the deck. But you, as you're cross-referencing some of the goods coming over to the Ascendant from the Nicodemus, you all hear a very, very loud, startled yell. And Castor, you see one of the riggers from your ship who was like on the Nicodemus's foremast, like inspecting some stuff, fall. And he lands on top of a bunch of these barnacle clusters that were below it, which sends up a huge cloud of like the most accurate equivalent would be kind of like pollen. It kind of looks like pollen just going everywhere, and he is coughing and struggling to get up. A couple of the other crewmates begin to try to get to him to help him out. Do you do anything, or do you just watch, point, and laugh?
What are the barnacles doing? Like, are they actually doing anything to the person?
They're not really doing anything to him, but he kind of like landed on them and they like basically crushed a bunch of them as all of this like pollen like stuff was just kind of everywhere
Released. Yeah.
I do have a question for you because this is you're the naturalist in the party, if I remember correctly. Do you make an effort to analyze these barnacles at any point?
Yeah, like that's what I was just about to say. I think that Castor like quickly like runs to the little space that they have that they use as a lab on the ship and grabs like a couple of like petri dishes and like things that they can use to take samples and returns, and hurries across to the Nicodemus where this man is. And I would assume that there's other people around and they're kind of helping him. Castor would help in order to get the man away from the barnacles, but is actually quite interested in the barnacles themselves.
Before I get to that, Huda and Lee, do you do anything? You can definitely hear like the very loud thud from where you all both are. So do you do anything when you hear this and like the commotion above decks?
I mean, Hora's gonna be like, oh, somebody must have dropped something while they were carrying it out. No concern whatsoever.
And I think Lee is a bit slowed down, shall we say, because once there is enough distance that he has privacy, he kneels down for a moment and rolls his pant leg up. And you can't quite see what he sees. He doesn't bring the lantern close enough for the audience to see it, but what he sees makes his face go pale. And he quickly rolls his pant leg down and then continues on his way up, looking very much distracted.
Okay. Lillie, I need you to roll your checks, please. You're going to have at least one fall die. I will say fauna, dissection, and perseverance apply.
Awesome. All right. Fall die and
3 flesh.
3 flesh. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Would my condition is that a hindrance or a help at this point?
It's horror. It's not necessarily. It is all narrative. The
Right.
hindrance comes from the fall dice.
All right. Well, that fall dice is a 5. But none of my flesh die are above 4. It's 2 1s and a 3.
So you're gonna get another condition in a second, and your fall goes up to 2. Just as a reminder for everyone, this includes the audience, you can reduce our players' fall to a minimum of 1. Everyone has 2 fall except for Siphonos, who has 0 still. That can change.
Knows what she's doing.
Hura is living her best life right now. She's no concern
Sorry,
for anything.
I'm getting head empty, no thoughts. But I'll get you your condition in a second. But you do have a success with a complication. So you're able to get whatever samples you want, whatever you need. Unfortunately, you do breathe in a little bit, which is you feel this euphoric feeling when you inhale some of these, what you realize are spores, not necessarily pollen. And you do know what they are.
Okay.
So basically, what you are, what Hector, the rigger who fell into, were, what's the best way to put this? These are egg sacs of a creature called a hentan.
Okay.
A hentan is basically a chimeric experiment, biological weapon. You don't know how the complication from this is you don't know how they procreate or anything like that, but you know they're dangerous. You know that they were a science experiment from another entity out in the world, and they are on this ship, and they are dangerous, and they are a weapon.
Lovely. Yeah, I think it, like, noticing this right away, is the guy was pulled off of that.
Yeah, at this point, he has been pulled off of the barnacles, now known the egg sacs, by some of the other crew, and is being carted off to the Ascendant for medical care.
Okay. And Castor is going to like raise their voice so that everyone in the vicinity can kind of hear and say, please be careful of the barnacles. They are very, very dangerous. Don't touch them, don't disturb them, and try not to breathe in any of the spores.
And I think it's a really good place to cut to Tide 2.
Okay.
So, the way this game works is there's 5 separate tides, 5 separate scenes. We are going into Tide 2, where it is the evening time right now. Lanterns have been strung up all over the Ascendant, and your cook, Honey, has made a very, very delicious stew, very hearty, basically pulling from the spoils of the Nicodemus, and bringing out some good barrels of ale, maybe a couple good bottles of good liquor, because this discovery of the Nicodemus and grabbing all of the valuable stuff from this is gonna be great for the Ascendant and the pursuit in general. This is a celebration. And you hear a lot of loud music there. Some of the crew are dancing as hell yeah, we're gonna get paid really well after we sell all of this. Also, not to mention like the renown of finding the Nicodemus and basically telling everybody, yeah, we found it. Up yours, East Passage Company. You lost your ship. We found it. Finders keepers. But essentially, there is music and revelry right now. The only thing that is new that you would notice is that was pulled over from the previous act is that towards the very end, when everyone else was walking back to the Ascendant, is there was a survivor on the Nicodemus. One of the other crew members found a very emaciated, scrawny, not a kid, but like we're talking just barely into adulthood, probably what's the word I'm looking for? Cabin boy. And there was just like nothing in his eyes, as in trauma. Hasn't said a single thing, and he was immediately carted off to the surgeon. There's a party going on. Who's partying? What y'all doing?
I mean, I know her probably wouldn't be touching any of the alcohol and stuff, but she probably would have like any other juices or like just nice glass of water. She wouldn't be dancing, but she would definitely be, if there's any games going on, she's there to cheer and be like, yay! And maybe play a couple rounds herself and stuff. But she would be kind of like off to the side playing games with people, I think.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple crew members playing like some cards or some dice and such like that. There is a very small group, just because I can add this into the game. I can do whatever I want, playing cornhole.
Amazing.
So you have your choice of some games.
She'd be with the people playing cards, I think, trying to I feel like the way Hura plays cards is you tell her the rules. She will play with them for the first 5 minutes, forget the most important ones within 2 minutes, and then kind of just go along with her own thing. But it tends to be like the rules, but they're slightly different, so you don't notice she's doing it.
Is this intentional or by accident? By accident?
Yeah, by complete accident. She has no idea. She's like assuming what other people are doing and assuming that's the rule. It doesn't help her win any better. It's just she doesn't always understand when she's going wrong.
You're playing against an older sailor by the name of Faye. She's lost a couple of teeth, but still very. She's still at the top of her game. She's fine. She's got this really dark weathered skin, rough hands, and she's looking down at her cards and looking up at you, debating whether she wants to say anything because it's you. You're always so happy. And does she just does she bring down your day by saying you're playing wrong?
It's a mystery. It's a mystery to what could happen to bring down Hura's day at this point.
I fold. You win.
Yay!
All right, who
What do I
wants
win? What do I win?
the bragging rights of winning?
Okay, I can share them with you then. We both win.
Sure, Herda. Sure. I'm gonna go get another bowl of soup. Do you want any?
Yeah, I would love some.
Okay. She does a big sigh, stands up, and like goes to go get some like more food and like another like drink for herself. Lee and Castor.
Lee is unsurprisingly once again off by himself. I think he's found a shadowed space as much as he can on the docks with the lanterns lit, and is sitting back with a drink in one hand, his other hand just rubbing his leg over and over and over again as he studies the rest of the crew and looks to see if there are any changes.
Yeah, you can roll me some kind of check to see if there's any change to people's demeanor or stuff like that.
Would discovery count?
Yeah, I'll say discovery and appraisal. Plus your deep dice, which is 2.
That is right.
There is also a way to bring down your deep dice, by the way, for our players, essentially sabotaging other players or some other characters.
So the good news is my deep dice were both 5s. My top dice was a 6.
Perfect. Yeah, so you're looking around the entire crew. This is going to be a full success. You do see a couple of the other crewmates and sailors. A lot of people are getting drunk. Not everybody, but anyone who is actively drinking is, having a good time, dancing, so on and so forth. There are a couple of the sailors who are more relaxed. A couple are rubbing their chest, coughing every once in a while. But probably the biggest thing that catches your eye, just because it's being obnoxious, is Evelyn, who is a higher ranking sailor, but still a part of the regular crew, is joshing with Hector, the man who fell into the barnacles earlier. And you can just kind of hear her saying, come on, you've been like a rigger for who knows how long, and you lost your grip and fell. Like, we need to get you a new job. Come on. And he's kind of like, yeah, I guess. Ha ha ha. He's trying to put on a happy face, but he's like, you can tell he's like not happy with himself about what happened in general. You doing anything?
I think Lee might get up and walk over to Evelyn and Hector and just be like, come on, Evelyn. We all know things happen.
I guess, but like, he's been on this ship for like well on a decade. You think he would know to like make sure to have 3 points of contact at once?
And Lee nods at that and then looks to Hector and asks, I mean, she's got a point. What did happen up there? This isn't like you.
I know. I don't know. It was kind of, there was a lot of the holding spaces were kind of like rotted. I probably shouldn't have tried to climb higher, but I misjudged the stability of some of my holds, honestly. I should have probably stayed lower.
And so, see, Evelyn, he had 3 points of contact. They just fell apart.
I guess. And then she'll just slap him on the back. Sorry, bud.
And Lee is going to just kind of study Hector for a moment and then ask him, how are you feeling? That was a long fall.
Little bruised, body and pride, you know. I'm doing okay. I'm gonna have some bruises for a bit. But nothing's broken. I got cleared. I got cleared by Constance, who you know is the surgeon.
Yeah, Constance knows what to look for.
Yes, she does. Did you see the kid that was brought in?
Only briefly.
I saw him. He was brought in while Constance was looking at me, and I don't know what he saw, but that kid saw some shit. Wouldn't
Did he
answer
say
any of your
anything?
questions. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What did you say?
Lee would have asked, did he say anything?
No. He kind of just sat there numbly, letting her patch him up. Water, food.
How does someone stay alive that long in those conditions?
I'm going to try not to think about that.
Yes, that's a good choice.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can get him back. Maybe he can join the crew, or we can at least drop him off on dry land.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would want to go out on the water again after that kind of experience.
Hopefully he can hold on until we get somewhere, you know?
Well, take it easy, Hector. Take care of yourself.
I will, thanks. He'll give you a nice little shoulder pat if you're, unless you like, ooh.
Yeah, no, Lee totally tries to dodge out from under that.
All right, Castor.
I think Castor would be totally torn between doing more like experimentation on these samples and joining the party. But I think they would. So once they know that this is a biological weapon, um, they would try to find some information on whether there's like an antidote if you get dosed by this.
The thing is, you kind of had you had a mixed success earlier, and it's
Mm-hmm.
unlikely you're gonna have books sitting around that you can about
Okay.
this.
Okay.
If you want, is there any? But I'm willing to hear out like what you would do to figure anything out about this.
I mean, so the captain's log, right? Like I realized that it would have been like a lot of sort of businessy type things. Is there like any entries that seem more personal where the captain might have actually written about any happenings on the ship or them like encountering any of this stuff?
Let me think. I'm trying to debate whether this would be a roll or not. Yeah, I'm going to ask you to make a roll. I'm going to say perseverance and penmanship are going
Okay.
to be part of this roll, along with your
Cool.
fall.
Okay. So that's two fall and
To
two
flesh.
flesh.
I will also say you can add a third flesh for discovery.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, yes. One of my flesh is a 6.
Perfect.
But one of my fall is also a 6.
Okay, so you're going to go up to fall 3. If you ever want to
Oh,
sabotage anyone later, just let me know. It could be NPCs if you want.
sure.
I'll get you a condition in a second, unless anyone would like to bring down Lily's fall.
Just push Hector onto the barnacles again. He survived it once.
Okay.
He's already been exposed.
So basically, what you find is when you start looking through this captain's log, is this is a kind of like not double bound, but there is, you know, when like you were in school and you take like a brown paper bagging and make like a book holder around it just so you don't like mess anything up.
Hmm.
It's something like that. And there's like another piece of leather outside of the book just to protect it. You find extra paper and extra logs hidden on the inside of the binding. So basically, it's more less legal things
Hmm.
written here. The first thing you do see is like there's some smuggling, of course, like some goods that were smuggled. This is not any. All of these dates are way, way back, basically.
Right.
But you get some smuggling, some stuff like that, some illicit deals, like like what was sold. The first interesting piece of information you do find though is that this they were transporting Henton on behalf
Mhm.
of a customer. And then there is also a note saying that they skimmed some of the goods for themselves. So not all of the Henton, well, now
Right.
none of the Henton have made it because they never made it to their final destination, but
Right.
they skimmed some of the goods for themselves.
Does it
And
seem like the captain knew what the Henton was? Like how dangerous it was?
they knew it was a weapon,
Hmm.
but probably not much more than that.
Okay.
They weren't like you, basically. They weren't
Hmm.
like a naturalist. They didn't study
Hmm.
this stuff, but they knew it was dangerous. And they can probably sell it for more money.
Sure.
That's just how it be in the business world.
I mean, yeah.
So that now you know how it got there.
Right. Right. Okay. I think finding all that out, Castor kind of wants to think a little more about the how to figure out getting rid of the Henton, which is obviously going to be a hard sell. Um, but that's what they're like at this point. Like, no, we cannot keep this Henton with us.
So this was a full success. What else did you find? What else were you looking for? What were you looking for in the captain's log again?
Oh, I also, Castor had wanted to see if there was any hint of like an antidote to the Henton. Like if you're carrying around this really dangerous biological weapon, it feels like someone might know, well, what if people get exposed? This is something that we can do to counter it.
Okay. I'm going to say you can't there's nothing written about that.
Okay.
But
All right.
in the towards the back of the captain's log, what you also find is a couple loose sheets of paper scribbled in like charcoal. It wasn't like a fancy quill or anything. It looks like someone just took like a burned stick and
Mm-hmm.
just started writing on the paper. There are no words, which is not weird because a lot of just regular sailors do not know how to read or know how to write.
Mm-hmm.
And at first you thought it was just, when you saw them earlier, it was just, like scribbles and stuff like that. But now knowing that this is Henton you're dealing with and you have like a vague idea of like what Henton are, which in general, they are a cross between I think a drag. I'll put pictures in during break, but some kind of
Mm-hmm.
wasp and deep sea creature with like terrible jaws. It's when I show you the pictures, it's gonna be gross and very insectoid. I love it. It's creepy, and whatever host creature they consume.
Okay.
So this scribbled picture is kind of like a stick figure of a person, and then like some like big dashes of charcoal coming out from like the torso of the stick figure, and then like legs or something like that. Like
Mm-hmm. Sure. Castor's going to take that piece of paper and fold it up and stick it in their pocket. And then I think they are actually going to join this party. Um, Castor spent like a lot of years in this sort of isolated, like underwater biodome with a professor, and that's it. And so, um, they are always interested in doing like human type social things. So they're gonna join in the party. They cannot get drunk, but they're going to like drink an amount um that makes it look like they're like drinking the same as some of the others, like not overly imbibing, but keeping like a half drunk mug in their hand at all times.
So when you get back to the deck, the first thing you would encounter is Huda.
Yeah.
Because
Hura would probably notice as well and be like, Castor, come play cards with us.
Oh,
Faye's gone to get a drink, but there's still cards
sure.
left.
Okay. What are you playing?
Uh, she has forgotten. we we can play whatever you want to play. Do you know any good games?
I mean, I'm partial to poker or blackjack.
I'm
I
good at
I'm
those because you can't see her face. She's not good at them. This is a lie. She's very obvious.
um yeah, and actually I think Castor has seen Hutter play before. Um and is like, yeah, this seems like it's gonna be pretty interesting. I'm gonna sit at this table and play.
um, Lee, when the individual who was playing with Huda earlier, Faye, has gotten a drink and like she kind of sees you like off to your side, off to the side again after talking with Hector and oh god, I forgot her name, but the other
It's
individual,
Faye.
Evelyn.
It's
Evelyn, yeah.
Yes.
Evelyn.
And then she like looks over like across the deck to where Huda and Castor is, and she turns to you and she's just like, "Will you join me for a game? Just because I need someone who's level-headed. I love Huda, but sometimes she's a lot."
I would be happy to.
And then she leads you back to the group to play. What are we playing?
Poker.
I might actually win. And then she looks over at Castor. Maybe not.
Yeah.
um,
Castor counts cards, but like doesn't realize that that is like a taboo thing. Like she's just like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, like
man,
why wouldn't you? Why can't you count
That's
cards?
I feel
exactly,
like
that makes sense. That's how you win, when you know what cards go out.
Okay, like seriously though, why can't you count cards?
I feel like Castor as well, like because you're an automaton, like it's not like your face is gonna give much away.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, yeah. They have a really good poker face.
Oh, speaking of, what did you do about your bleeding appendage from earlier?
Oh, I think they would have just bandaged it up,
Yeah.
like not done any real particular thing. Um, Probably not a good afterthought, but I'm gonna say they didn't think about any of the blood that might have dropped on the like deck. So they just bandaged themselves up when they got back on board the Ascendant.
Lily, I'm sending you your next condition. I almost forgot.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
I think this one's
um,
juicy.
where did you get hurt again? So like, is the bandage
It was
visible?
it was like right in the doorway of the captain's
Like on
of
your
the officer's deck.
on your body? Was it your hand or something?
Oh, it was like her forearm where she had tried to push in the door, where they had pushed in the
Okay.
door.
Okay, then I think Hura's gonna probably notice. Oh no, your arm. Is it okay? Did you go to the?
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, just little accident trying to get into the officers uh quarters when over on the Nicodemus.
oh, speaking of, did you find anything interesting? Did you
Oh,
were they transporting any people? Any people kind of thing?
I there were no, there were some dead crew members in terrible, terrible condition. And I
In the
didn't really
officers'
stick around.
quarters?
In the officers' quarters, yes. I mean, I did think that was a little unusual. There weren't any officers around. Um, but yeah, it was bad. I just looked in and then grabbed the captain's log and closed the door again.
I saw skeletons. Maybe those are the officers. Oh wait,
Maybe.
Sure.
skeletons.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like how could they already be skeletons though? That would
Oh,
take a very long time to decompose that far.
oh yeah, that's really weird.
I, I that's a good point, and I don't like that.
That's why I'm
Yeah.
trying not to think about it, says Faye.
Right. The game.
For funsies, wanna all just roll 2d6 and whoever gets the highest die wins.
Whoa!
All right.
Please, come on. No, I got a 1 and a 3.
Makes sense.
I got 4 and a 2.
I got a 3 and a 5.
Yeah.
I got
that's
a
about-
9. Okay, I take it back. I can beat Castor tonight. Apparently, I'll take it.
Castor was like
that's-
a little off their game because of the Hara's questions about their injury and what was inside the room.
All right,
How do
I'm ready
do
for.
you do you
Go
do you wait? Sorry, real quick. Do you realize? Do you win at poker if you do you lose at poker when you get 21 cards or something?
I think that's blackjack.
That's blackjack, yes.
Yes.
Hura's gonna misunderstand whatever happened and be like, yeah, I got second.
All right, we want to do another round? Feeling lucky?
Sure.
Sure.
All right.
Why not?
Why'd you sound so reluctantly?
I'm not much for fun.
Yeah.
This is why you should have pressed on the barnacles. They smelled really nice, and then you'd have fun.
What do you think about that, Castor?
No, the barnacles are incredibly dangerous. Please do not.
Oh.
Did
Hara?
did
What's
you
wrong with the barnacles?
did you tell the captain?
Did you tell the captain? And she looks at Lee, who said that he would.
I mean, I did mention to the captain that we had some concerns about the barnacles and the weird vinegar smell in the hold.
And the whispers?
Did you Hara,
That was
did
the wind.
you
Whispers?
No, that was the wind. That was the wind.
Oh,
Tara.
yeah, that was the wind.
Yeah.
That was the wind.
Oh, okay. Hara, did you breathe in these spores? Lee, did you?
No, absolutely not.
No?
She's like trying to think. I think I did a little bit. I think a little bit got caught in here.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
Okay. I think maybe Hara, maybe tomorrow you might want to visit me in my lab. Just, you know, basic checkup, just to be sure.
What are we checking? Is it any is it over like whatever you found?
Are you gonna check up on Hector too? You
I
probably
mean,
should.
yes. And I think like at this point, if Castor noticed that there were other like crew members that were like coughing, you said earlier, I think Castor's gonna just like stand up on the table, like on touch, like just climb up on the table.
Correct
where
is
the cards are
cheering and being like, Castor.
and Castor is gonna say, can any crew members who have a cough or who possibly breathed in any of the spores report to my lab tomorrow morning?
And as you say that, right? What happens is like you get a couple of, oh yeah, sure, absolutely, blah blah blah. You, other than like the surgeon, you're like, you know your shit. dangerous animals and dangerous plants. And if you're saying it is dangerous, of course it's got to be dangerous, and so on and so forth. As everyone else is about to go, as you're stepping off the table after having made your announcement, and everyone else is going back to, dancing, drinking, conversing, and stuff like that, there is a cough and yell and just like grunt from Hector as he falls to the ground and he begins convulsing. Evelyn, who was near him earlier, is immediately down by his side and be like asking what is wrong, so on and so forth. And a couple other crew members come over too, just like, so he doesn't hurt his head, doesn't bite his tongue off while he's just like on the ground. And what happens is all of a sudden there's this squelching sound as his chest bursts open. And you see these long legs just kind of like crawling and pushing their way outside of his chest. And little chitters and screeching. And Lee, since you got a really, really good sound at this, you do hear like, it's not the same words, they aren't saying anything, but just kind of the same cadence as the whispers you heard earlier. They're chittering. And they begin to crawl their way out of his chest and begin to rapidly grow. And the deck erupts into chaos. You will all have 1 second to do something, or tell me what you want to do, like one action before we go to break. What are you doing as this happens? Castor, you recognize Henton?
Yes. Absolutely. Would Castor have known how to kill Henton?
Nope.
Okay.
They are chimeric animal creatures. They're a type of animal.
Right.
They have like a hard, after they grow up a little bit, they do have like a hard carapace. So they're still in like little squishy states right now. But they're technically an animal.
Right. I feel like we're on a ship where possibly pirates or conduct piratical,
Yeah, absolutely.
Missions. I feel like
everyone has a weapon of some sort. Let's be realistic.
That's what I was just about to say. I really feel like, and so I think that Castor probably has like a blade of some sort, and they are gonna like push people away, like say back up, don't touch it, and try to take aim with this blade at this Henton thing that is crawling out.
Okay, so you're gonna roll with obviously 3 fall, and then whatever traits from your thing.
Right.
You're definitely trying to dissect this thing.
Oh yeah.
Persevere. Competition, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see what happens.
I would also say you can use fauna, because you would know, you would be the best how to best place to hit this thing. Right. I'm also gonna say, this little tidbit also comes back in your mind, or not even a tidbit in your head, but like as you're looking at this thing, this is like a cross between an insect, some kind of fish, and a human face that's jaws are unhinging with large sharp teeth.
Oof. Okay. That's horrific.
It's great. I love these things. Right. They're friends.
Here we go. Okay, so my flesh dice that rolled.
Should have 4 flesh, 3 deep.
Right. Okay, so my flesh dice were 2 1s, a 4, and a 5.
Okay.
And my fall dice, right? Should I have had deep?
Your fall dice are 3. You should have rolled 3 of those.
Right.
3 deep, 4 flesh.
Okay. And then the fall dice is a 1, a 2, and a 4.
Okay, so you don't get another fall, but you are succeeding with a complication. So basically what happens is you are able to slash at one of these things, because it's not just one of these Henton crawling out of the chest, it's multiple. So you're able to at least slash one of these. But what happens is, like, when you cut this head off of it, their blood splatters everywhere. You get splattered, and you also hit a couple of the other crew members.
Oh no.
And it burns. It is acidic and beginning to chew holes in flesh. Lee and Huda, what are you doing?
Hura, I think this is like her eyes like going wide, and like she's like she's always like in a good mood, but like she's not brushing this one off. And like she's I think she's gonna like start like, oh god, is this real? What the captain? And she's gonna try to run to the captain. And I think the main thing about this is I think she's gonna think about where our course is already being charted, and I'm assuming she would have looked over like every document that they brought over at this point, including the ones that she found, and like thinking about whether or not we're going in the same direction as they were going and stuff, and like whether or not those stars are aligned.
So the fun thing about this is this game is your character has just witnessed / underwent something disturbing, and you do not confront it with a risky action. This is a trial, so you do not have to roll, because any deep die you roll is going to be higher than your current level of fall. So you are finally at 1 fall.
Oh my god!
I will get your condition during break.
Okay.
All right. You are heading to go check courses and stuff like that.
Yes.
All right. You are running. And Lee.
Yes.
And since this is Lee's immediate split-second decision in the wake of this, Lee is going to do something that he is familiar with. He is going to run. And his action is going to be to move into the lower levels of the ship and the darkness to use that darkness to hide.
Okay. You're technically also not confronting it with a risky action, so I'm going to need you to roll a single deep die. If your deep die is higher than your current level of fall, your fall increases by 1. So 3, 4, 5, 6.
It certainly does, because that was a 6.
Okay, so I will get JD and Siphonos conditions during break. But for now, we are going to take our break. We'll be back, I don't know, shortly, 5, 10, 15 minutes, whenever we all get back. Please stretch, hydrate, pet your pets, and we will be back soon. Bye. Hey everybody, we are back from break. We last left off with these amazing little Henton friends busting out of a crewmate's chest. It's wonderful. It's perfect. And before we get on to the horrifying game of Sunken, I just want to remind everybody that we are raising money for Patty Aware today for oceanic conservation. So if you would like to help or hinder our players, you can put exclamation point incentives in chat and raise money for a really good cause and help me kill off all of these wonderful players right here. Or maybe help them, because we're at 3 fall for 2 people, so, you know.
I was about to say, Castor's pretty close already.
I'm still living my best life.
For now. For now.
For now.
For now. But yeah, you can give some flesh dice to help increase their odds of success. You can reduce their fall. You can give someone a boon, or you can give someone a condition. Make things interesting, like I have been giving them this game so far. But anyway, let us get back to it. We last left off with Lee running below deck while Castor made a lovely little attack on the Henton, spraying both herself and crew members with this acidic blood, which immediately burned some holes in basically everyone's flesh, including yours, Castor. Where did this blood burn a hole through?
I think it spattered like right on her shoulder. So now there's like a quarter size hole that goes through, like all all the way through. Like it's like, wait, there's a hole.
Yeah. And Huda, you went running to, I think, the captain's quarters?
Mhm.
Okay. You are running to the captain's quarters, and Captain Callisto is actually running out and towards the commotion because there is screaming. Crew members are starting to run. She sees you running towards her, and she's like, "What in the seven seas is happening?"
Hector, something came out. Castor's running. You need to go.
Okay, you help get people to safety, or you're not known for fighting, are you? No? Okay. So you help people get to safety, bring the injured down to Constance. I will rally the masses. Go.
Okay, she goes and does that. Additionally, in her head, it was was there an answer to whether or not we're charted for the same course / stars as what she saw in the thing?
You're looking to see if the current chart is matching what you saw earlier.
Kind of, yeah, like in her head, like as she's running, like she's running through these memories, like are we headed for the same fate?
So you want to check the stars, and
Yes.
you're okay. I will say you are the navigator, so you do have your own little area in the officers' quarters where all the instruments are, and so on and so forth. So if the commotion is not near that, so you're not in any danger of being attacked at this very moment, so you can check your bearings.
Okay. I feel like she's definitely gonna like shout at people to come and get away, and then kind of see them probably running away themselves and be like,
Yeah.
It might be fine.
Yeah.
And she goes and does that.
Okay, so please make a check for the bearings. To check your bearings, this is going to be star charts, weather. You're going to do all of those.
Okay, so 3/1 deep.
Correct.
Yes. One of my flesh spells. Ooh. Okay. Oh no. So that's 2 1s and a 2 on the flesh, and then a 5 on the deep.
So yes, I'll give you another condition in a second, but
Yep.
yes, when you're starting to check your bearings, line all your instruments up the stars, not all of them, but a lot of your checks and your charting match what it says earlier.
Oh man. And I add 1 full?
Yes, you're going to be up to 2 fall. I will get you another thing in just a second. Let's quickly go back to Castor. Castor, you are in this middle of this commotion. You just attacked a Henton. So you're like right on deck. Out of the corner of your eye, you see Captain Callisto rushing towards you, and just like everything that's going on. She has her pistol in one hand and a sword in the other. But you hear a shout from the crow's nest, actually. Just like a yell, and some people's heads like turn. And do you look up?
Yeah, I think Castor does. Actually, are the Henton like still
They're not
alive and trying to?
Yeah, some are there are a couple that are still alive, and they're trying to get away.
Okay. Can I ask with the second condition, does it seem like this is what Castor was sensing, these maggots, or do they still have the sense that there are like more of these?
From your second condition, that's going to be a constant throughout the entire rest of the game.
Okay. Awesome. Great. Thanks. Yeah. So I think because of that Castor is like really on high alert. So as soon as there is a yell, they're going to look up.
What you see is that it was a fairly clear night, actually. There weren't a lot of clouds. But when you look up, you see a lot of those stars, and part of the moon is blocked out right now as you see a huge flock of seabirds, so seagulls, ospreys, making your way towards the two ships. So both the Nicodemus and the Ascendant. And they get here kind of quick, and all of a sudden these barnacles begin lashing out at the birds. The birds begin lashing out at the barnacles. Some of your sails are getting caught in the crossfire. And there is an all-out war going on right now with the screeches of bird calls and feathers and down beginning to fall from the sky.
Sure. um, okay. How distracted are the barnacles with the birds? Like they're not paying attention to, they're not like actively trying to infect any of the crew.
Ooh. Sorry, I forgot to send someone a condition. I thought I sent it. Did I send it? Yep, I will get you that in a second. Sorry about that, JD.
No worries. I was just like, I should probably have 3, and that would be important.
Yeah, sorry. I think I sent it to Lillie theirs, but not yours. Sorry, what was the question, Lillie?
So are the barnacles are now fully distracted by the birds? Like there's no one getting actively infected by the barnacles at this point?
A majority of the barnacles are on the Nicodemus, so that is correct. Okay. The birds are swooping any of the recently hatched hentin they can see on the Ascendant, but currently everyone is on your ship, not the Nicodemus. So
okay,
yeah.
I think Castor's kind of actually they're just gonna like shrug, like that is a whole the birds and the barnacles a whole other thing. But right now there's these hentin that are here on the ship. How do the hentin look with Castor's first condition?
The first condition I gave you?
I can see darkness as light and vice versa. So what do they? What does that make them look like?
So it is dark. They look like dark spots. Okay. You can still see them, but like it's they seem to be like as if they were in broad daylight. Okay. So you are seeing the full horrors, not marked out by shadow.
Okay. Awesome. Fantastic. That's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Which makes Castor even more like, I think maybe even more frantic. Like they probably have a pistol too and like this blade, and they're just kind of like maybe like shooting with like aiming and shooting while also like hacking, just trying to get rid of all of this hentin.
So you're trying to specifically aim for the hentin, not necessarily
yes.
birds. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Just Rob, roll me one more time. See what you can do.
Okay.
And then we'll get to Lee.
Perseverance, and can I use competition too?
I will say you can use competition, perseverance, dissection. Wait, are you shooting or are you? Well, you're doing both, right?
Yeah.
I think last time we gave you competition, fauna, dissection, and perseverance for your flesh.
Okay. And then I'm rolling my fall.
Which is 3.
Yes. Oh, God. Oh, that is so bad. So I got a 6 on one of my flesh dice.
Okay, that's good.
My fall dice are 2 6s and a 4.
So you succeed really well. Tell me what you do.
I think really just like puts the muzzle like almost right up on one of the hentin and pulls the gun while at the same time like slashing at another one with the blade, and as she does it this time they're aware of blood spatter that might happen. So they kind of lean away as they do it. And kind of are like indicating to people to move back as they do it.
Okay. We'll come back to you in just a second because you do have forefall.
Yes.
So maybe think about how you want to maybe reduce that fall.
Okay. I mean, could be helpful.
Lee, you have run beneath the ship. You left right as soon as you saw the Henton exploding from Hector's chest. And not too long later, you begin to hear the sounds of more commotion, yelling, screaming, more sounds of like people coming also below decks, other crew members. And then eventually the sounds of a lot of birds and commotion and fighting. The waves gently lap, not gently, but they do lap against the ship, and you just feel the ship sway back and forth. What are you doing?
And so Lee reacted the way he did, like purely out of, fight, flight, freeze. Flight was the option that he took, and he does feel strangely comfortable in the darkness. And as his heart rate started to slow just a little bit, and he tried to think through what he had just witnessed, some of the conversation that was happening at the table while playing poker, and also just the strange things that he's been noticing about the crew even before this happened, there's a brief moment where he thinks, I should probably help. I should do something. Like, I shouldn't abandon everyone as this is unfolding. And then he feels something twist inside his chest. And he remembers the horror that he just saw in terms of what happened to Hector. And he goes deeper into the ship because he is determined to hide. Because what is going to happen if the crew realize that he is as much of a liability? I think he actually is looking to... find somewhere where he can maybe separate himself from the rest of the crew.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's for his safety or theirs is debatable.
Okay. So what happens is you are in the darkness. You can't see it as well as like what Castor's going through right now, whose vision has completely inverted. But you are one with the darkness. You have a saint who is essentially darkness. So you also have been on the ship long enough where you kind of, you know where you're going. You know the halls and the hold and everything down here. And in the darkness beneath the deck of the ship, you see some movement out of the corner of your eye. Big movement. Taller than a human. Whether it's taller because it's taller or because it's above your eye level, it's hard to say.
So I think I would like to call on my saint and use that ability to move untraceably through darkness, because I don't want this thing to see me.
Cool. So I will say that you need to roll all of your fall dice. You will have one heaven's die that you will roll as part of you calling on your saint, and then any applicable flesh dice. I'll say competition can work, though I'm not sure if any others would.
I think that's fair.
Okay, cool.
That's unfortunate, because my fall dice had the highest numbers.
Okay,
and that was a 6.
What was your heavens die?
5.
Okay, and then everything else was below that?
Yep.
So you do completely succeed, and your heavens die, you're able to, it's fine. You don't gain additional fall or anything from your heavens die roll. You do get your fall increases to 4 because of, also maybe think about how you're going to lower that event. But yes, so continuing on. Tell me how you succeed and what happens while I get you your next condition.
And so Lee just takes a moment just to center himself and asks his saint for assistance because he knows this is really, really bad. This is the worst situation he has ever been in his life. And then taking that gift of shadows kind of wrapping around him, he stays low to the floor and passes unseen. His footsteps making no sound, whether it's that he is moving particularly stealthily or whether it is the gift that he has been given, it allows him to pass through and away from this looming figure unseen.
Hura, what are you doing? You have checked the stars and with your navigational tools.
Okay, so what was the result to the stars? Was it yes?
Most of them match what you saw
Yeah,
earlier.
most of them match. Most of them match, right? Yeah. She's going to take a second, and I think she realizes, oh God, I could die. I could die today. And then following her second condition, she realizes she cannot stand to die without having done something against without having absolved herself of her feelings of revenge. So she thinks about she thinks about like all of the spoils we took from the Nicodemus and thinks they're the problem. Maybe if we just get rid of them, maybe if we give them back to the sea, surely this should fix itself. And so she's gonna start running around the ship. She's gonna start with Castor's room, I think, because she would assume that Castor would definitely have something. And just she's gonna go ahead looking for anything she knew that was on the ship from the Nicodemus, and when she finds it, she's gonna try throwing it out of the window.
Castor, is all your stuff like easily findable? Oh, you're muted.
It is so easy. Like it's very organized. There's like a system, like the Dewey Decimal sort of situation where everything's categorized. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like they would have worked together enough for her to be like, I know how Castor works. So yeah, she's heading straight for Castor's room to find whatever she can, whatever the most recent information he has.
Yeah. So you are able to find Castor's room really easily. You've been in here before. As Lillie just said, Castor's room is incredibly organized. You do see a new book. You see the captain's log that has the symbol of the East Passage Company on front of it, as well as the Nicodemus written on front in very faded gilded lettering. You also see the samples that they took earlier, kind of like on slides, and like magnifying glass to look down at it. And as you're like beginning to gather stuff and like begin to throw stuff outside like the very small porthole window, you can't really fit out. You hear you should get rid of everything. You should toss everything outside the window from behind you. And you kind of go ahead.
Yeah. She's gonna look behind her and yes. Oh, real quickly. Yeah. Would Castor have something like a scalpel lying around?
Yeah, absolutely. They probably have like a whole tray with like different size scalpels and different things that you would use for dissection and for taking samples.
Yeah, then I think she's just gonna, just to be petty, before she throws the book out or anything, she was gonna take one of the scalpels and like scratch out as much as she can of the East Passage Company. Just be like, kind of thing in her rage. And then she's gonna turn back and be like, "Who said that?"
You see behind you Hector. His body just the torso is all blood and guts. Some of the intestines are hanging out and dragging upon the floor. But the most oddest thing about this is he is like stone white, like gray, like pure paper white, and his legs are beginning like to fade and disappear the farther they go down towards the feet. And he's just looking in horror, not even realizing that his guts are hanging out. And he's like, get rid of everything, throw all of her stuff away. Like, what she knows a lot of things about the Henton. Maybe if you get rid of everything, they'll be appeased.
She's like, yeah, you're right. Maybe it can save you if I do this. And she's gonna just immediately be like, you're right, and throws everything away. I'm sorry, Castor. But yeah, she's gonna just like, oh god, because Castor's organized as well. She's gonna like start small as much as she can, and then gather the big things just like in a massive pile so that she can clear out later.
Okay, we're gonna actually go to the next tide.
Ooh.
So the fourth. Oh, actually, before I go to the fourth tide, do the people with four fall have any way to like try and lower their fall? Because there will be an opportunity to do stuff next tide, but I didn't know if you had any ideas right now. I wanted to give you that quick opportunity.
I mean, Castor does, but I think it depends upon like how much chaos is still
Oh,
happening.
so much.
Okay. I think this is gonna be so bad, but I think Castor is looking for one of the other crew members that was coughing. And with this heightened sense of like there's definitely more Henton like egg sacs germinating in human bodies. They're one of those people that is coughing. They're gonna be like, I'm so sorry, and then like knife them and like yeah, like to vivisect them, I guess, and get the Henton like out.
Okay. So you are going to roll a heaven die and
Okay.
any applicable flesh dice.
Okay.
No deep dice on this.
Oh, good.
So I will say dissection, perseverance. I can also argue
Fauna.
Yeah, because a human is technically fauna.
Mm-hmm.
It's an animal.
Yes. All right.
Technically.
Here we go. Oh, that is so good. I got a 6 and a 5 on
You
two
actually
of my
want to
flesh
roll
dice.
low.
Oh no. Well, also got a 1.
Okay, so yes.
It's a 1, a 6, and a 5 on my flesh dice.
Okay, 1, 6, 5. And then what was your heaven
And then
dice?
the heaven dice was a 5.
Okay, so if the die's result is that lower than your level of fall, reduce your fall by 1.
Okay.
So you're down to 3, but you do keep the condition. Sorry.
Okay. That's all right. Actually, the conditions are kind of working for Castor at the moment. Thank you for reducing my fall. She's very happy about that.
Yeah.
So 3 is still, yeah.
And in this chaos, no one notices you knife a fellow crew member.
Sure. Oh God.
JD, did you want to
so
try
bad
and do
about
anything, or do you want to wait till next tide?
So I think that depends on if Lee is alone in the space, or if there are other crew members that he is encountering.
This can actually work anyway. So basically, you ran off on your own, so we'll see how this goes. How about that? We'll go to the next tide.
That sounds fair.
Okay, so the next tide, the fourth tide, is Hura, Castor, and I'll let you decide if you want to be with them, Lee, are all huddled up and hiding in one area of the ship. At some point, the more Henton appeared. You're not 100. None of you are 100% sure where they came from. but eventually they kind of herded you below decks. The birds that were attacking the barnacles on the Nicodemus, you've heard them. There's still more. Some of their bodies are littering the deck. And you just do occasionally hear the occasional caw, chirp from them sitting in the riggings and the masts and stuff like that. A lot of, more than a couple of your crew have died, including Captain Callisto. And the halls and rooms of the ship are being not necessarily patrolled, but Henton are roaming. Some with faces of your crew. Some also with birds. Bird features, long beaks and claws, other than just the long stinger-like tail and teeth. So Lee, do you think you would find yourself with Huda and Castor, or do you think you would find yourself with another small group of people?
I think another small group of people.
Okay. So Lee, you find yourself in the surgeon's quarters, actually, with both Constance, the surgeon, and that scrawny cabin boy from the Nicodemus. The scrawny cabin boy has been huddled in a corner, whimpering this entire time. Constance has like a bone saw with her. Just not sure what to do. She's not really a fighter, but she's got more than a couple weapons back here. Just because of the nature of her work.
And so Lee has, I think at some point, managed to find some fabric, and it's kind of like around his neck like a scarf now. And his collar is pulled up. And he has been studying the boy that they found on the ship pretty much since he ended up in there, and keeps also kind of darting his gaze over to Constance. He doesn't want to get Constance's attention on him. And so I think he kind of considers his options and then draws Constance over to the side and says,
yeah, well, when you go to get her attention, she's actually been like, her ear has been up against the door listening into the hall. So, but when you catch her attention, she'll come over to you, like holding her bone saw really tightly. Her so tight-fisted.
Constance, you weren't out on the deck when it happened, were you?
No, I've been mostly monitoring this kid. He's traumatized. And from what I've been hearing and what I saw before running back in here with the commotion, I can see why. Lee, what are we going to do?
I don't think it's safe to have him in here, Constance.
Well, we can't just throw him overboard. It's against my oath. We can't do anything, unless we want to try and get out, but...
Constance, I mean, he was on that ship.
There were a lot of things on that ship.
Yeah, but if that happened to Hector, how do we know it's not going to happen with him, and then we're locked in here with him?
You need to make me some kind of check to try and persuade her, because that's a lot. So, real question is what kind of role are you trying to do? Are you trying to make this a role to reduce your fall, to convince her to off him? Okay, so we're gonna do that role, not necessarily a convincing her to do it. Cool.
Yep. So what would I roll for? I mean, I think competition counts.
Yes, absolutely competition. Definitely your heaven die. You want to roll less than a 4, or a 4 or below for one of those dice, basically. But I can't think of, unless you can make an argument for one of the other ones, I can't think of anything.
I feel like I could try to argue for appraisal, but I think that would be a stretch.
Yeah, I think it's a stretch. Okay, so you're going to roll 2 dice, your flush dice and the heavens die.
Okay, that is a 2 on the heavens die and a 1 on the flesh die.
So it works. You do succeed. She looks at you, glances over at him. I'm going to go back to listening at the door. And she turns her back to you and the boy and goes back to listening at the door. What do you do, Lee?
Lee walks over to the boy and just says, "I'm sorry," and then grabs the scalpel.
We're going to
We
fade.
don't need to describe what he does with it.
Yeah, we can just fade to black right there. Okay. Huda, you can reduce your fall by 1. Huda and Castor, the two of you are with Honey the cook and Sammy the bosun in the kitchen. Honey has a huge meat cleaver in her hands, and Sammy is pacing around the kitchen. What are you two doing?
I think Huro would have taken one of the smaller kitchen knives, so not like a massive cleaver, but like one of the smaller kitchen knives herself as well.
Yeah, I mean, Castor probably still has the pistol and the blade that they had before, but I think they also have like put like a bandage around that hole in their shoulder. Not necessarily because the injury bothers them, but because like it's a big hole and it's pretty obvious that it is not human flesh.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
With the hole there.
Huda, from behind you, you've been hearing Hector muttering like from like behind you and either to your like left or right ever since you were in Castor's quarters. And at this point you hear him muttering, you need to make a run for it. You need to run out. You need to fight everything and just get out of here, because the sea has to be safer than being on one of these ships. And it's just kind of like into that blabbering. And Castor, by the way, you don't see this. You do not see Hector. This is just for her.
Yeah. I think Hura wouldn't even. I think she wouldn't even consider like hiding it that much either. Like I think she's just like she's like everybody would definitely like notice that she's a lot quieter now. Like she's not acting like herself. But she's definitely like turning to like she's turned around to Hector and is like sitting on her knees and like. But I mean, I don't know how to fight, and I don't know if I have everything, and maybe we need to sink the actual Nicodemus before we can do anything, because otherwise they win, and we can't let them win because then how are you going to be saying how am I? And just kind of like that, like she's like trying to, she's not going anywhere, but she's talking circles around this as well.
Honey, the cook, looks over at you, Hura, and then over at Sammy and Castor, and just gives you two, not you, Hura, like a look, like, but obviously looking over to her and like, what in the world? Obviously the situation has escalated to where Hura has lost it.
I mean, I think Castor is maybe just humoring Hara. Like this is we're all traumatized at this point.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a smidge.
A tiny bit, and I think that kind of knowing that there's all of these Henton out there. So the fourth condition that you gave me, I'm actually aware of that happening. Like I'm aware of that Henton stalking me.
When you eventually made your way down below the ship from the deck, there was one Henton whose eyes you could feel on you, who was stalking you, but without, well, not chasing. It's like when endurance predating, being an endurance predator, just walking and following you, not like the other ones.
Right.
Oh, no, go on.
Okay. Yeah, so I think like the anxiety of that, and then like also like feeling this that there are more Henton maggots like within human bodies amongst the crew and everything. Like Castor is really, this is like the most human Castor has ever felt, like with all these emotions and feelings
and trauma
and everything happening right now. I I think I think I think I don't think they're really going to pay a lot of attention to what Hara is saying. Um, and and I think that they're actually going to go over to like, is it like a door, or like how is this area that we're in sectioned off?
Can I just jump in?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I just realized, so Hura probably actually would have turned to Castor at the end of like her spiel and be like, Castor, did you know about the Henson? You mentioned something during the game that
I
you,
I know that they are a biological weapon, and they are devastating. And they take on features of those things that they consume.
she's gonna like grab you by the shoulders. You know stuff about them. You know all of that stuff. And do you want to go to a safer place?
Honey turns at that. Honey actually like turns from like with her back's been against the door just in case like someone tries to break in. I'm actually thinking about that too. Our best bet might be trying to grab like one of the rowboats with some supplies and getting out.
Yeah. That's what Hector said. He said that it's let's go somewhere safer and stuff.
Sammy, who's this nervous young adult. Hector? Hector's dead.
Hector, he's
Hector
there.
was one of them. Did you not see?
No, he was the rigger, remember? He fell. It's fine. Let's go to the safer place first, and then we can talk about Hector.
How far would this would where we are right now be from Castor's lab?
I'm imagining Castor's lab would be on the deck right below the main deck, but probably like on the other side.
Okay. And I think so Castor would be like, you know what, getting out actually sounds like a really good idea. Yes, let's do that. I just have to pick a couple things up, and I'll meet you guys by the what are they called?
The rowboats.
I want to say
yeah, the rowboats.
Escape ships.
Oh my god.
The dinghies.
It's fine, Castor. Everything's in the sea already. You find it when you go out.
I really want to get some of those samples and the captain's log. I really think it's important that I have that information if we're leaving.
Hers gonna be like, no, it's okay. It's okay. Oh, okay, well, if you're gonna go, you won't find anything. But if you come with us, you might find it. But okay.
Why would I had a, a whole bunch of samples, and I had like cataloged some stuff and
Wait,
papers and notebooks.
you see, they're attacking us because the East Passage companies, they're attacking us because we know the things, so we need to get rid of the things and stuff.
How do you know this, Hara? I think Castor has like as Hara keeps talking about this and saying this kind of stuff, Castor like rises kind of to their feet. They were probably like crouched down a little bit, and like starts walking toward Hara. And how do you know all this information?
Because it only happened when we went to the Nicodemus. So anything that happened to Nicodemus, we gotta give it back. Otherwise they'll just keep following us. I love out of character. I love how I have the least full and I'm the one
acting. And like I think Castor's gonna go up to Hara and put like their hand on Hara's shoulder and say, Hara, are you one of the Henton?
No. I don't think I am. It's what I would feel it if I was a Henton, right? I don't feel anything different.
There's really only one way to tell.
Oh man.
Are we getting into PvP?
I feel far less bad about throwing away all of Castor's stuff if we're going to do that.
So Castor, what do you do?
I think Castor is like going to slash at Hara, but like not in a lethal sense. Like I think they just want to see what Hara's reaction is, and if like the Henton, if there is a Henton inside, whether it reacts or does anything to protect Hara.
Okay, and Huda, what are you doing in response to this? And then we'll get to the rolling part.
Okay, so I feel like after being slashed,
well, we're gonna do a roll off to see what succeeds.
Okay.
So,
okay.
what is like narratively? What is Huda's response to Castor going for you? Dodging, attacking, blocking.
Oh, you see, I don't think she's even going to consider it.
Okay.
I feel like she would let it happen, and I can think of something she would do afterwards, kind of thing.
Okay.
But like she might instinctively, reflex dodge out of the way.
So it'll be a reflex. So Castor, let's build yours first.
Okay.
You have a lot of things that could be applicable to slashing at Huda.
Yeah. Okay, so dissection, perseverance. I mean, I'm gonna argue fauna again.
Fauna, yeah.
Okay. And can I use discovery?
Yeah, we can use discovery.
Okay. Yep. I think that's what I
plus your deep dice.
Yes. I'm at 3 now.
Siphonos, is there anything you would like to do and roll besides your deep dice?
There, I don't think. I mean, I guess competition to stay alive.
You don't have competition because you're not part of the pursuit technically.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wait. Let me look the others. Yeah, no. I have nothing.
Yeah. This isn't your
odds are stacked against
This is not your fleet's ship.
Oh man, how far we have fallen, hurrah.
So you're gonna get a level of fall no matter what, but depending on the success and what y'all get. So roll me your 2 fall dice and then let me know what everyone gets.
Okay.
Ooh.
I really, really, really hope this is a situation where rolling low is good, because I rolled 4 1s on my flesh dice.
And what'd you get for
And
your
then-
fall dice?
And on my fall dice, I rolled 2 2s and a 3.
I got a 6 and a 4.
So your fall goes up, Castor. Actually,
Okay.
Mine does too.
So does Hura's. I'll get y'all's things in a second, but you don't contact with Hura.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't make contact. So this is narratively this is in Hura's favor.
Yeah, so Hura is gonna be like, oh, that's a good idea. We should check if everybody else is, and she's gonna do the same thing. She's gonna like slash at Castor as well.
Oh my god.
And I thought Lee not being in this room would limit the possibility of PvP, but
Oh man, turns out we needed Lee to keep us balanced.
Oh my god.
Right.
Just because we do only have 30 minutes left, let's not go into a full thing of like continuous PvP. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
okay. I would
just
like
that.
to resolve this narratively, but like I'm definitely gonna say Honey steps in. We cannot be falling apart at the seams right now. We need to get out of here.
And I think Castor, like, almost immediately after trying to injure Hura, they're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like, this place is making me like insane. I now like attacking other people on the crew, and they're thinking of the other person also that they did get away with attacking before, and like I cannot believe this is where we're at. And I think they're gonna step away from Hura and like tuck the knife away and put like their pistol in like a holster that they have on the side, and hold their hands up like, we should go. We should just leave. We need to go. You're right, Hura. Let's go.
Okay.
You're right. There are more important things to be thinking about, and we're gonna try going, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like at this point we probably would have kind of noticed if they have a pattern with their roaming.
There's
I
no
don't think so.
pattern.
No pattern. Okay, well, Castor has a pistol.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we're leaving with everyone else, right? There's a meat cleaver in play too.
Yeah.
Lee. Let's head
Yes.
head back over to you and Constance. Constance has intentionally not looked over in that side of the room or at you. She's just been kind of staying near the door. She knows what the sound of scalpel hitting flesh sounds like. That little squelching, and she does not look over. Do you approach her? When you're done?
after when Lee is finished, he does drape a sheet over the body.
Okay.
And then just moves off back into the corner. Now just covered in a fair amount of blood.
That is fair. You hear a shaky breath from Constance. We need to get out of here. We can't. We'll starve if we stay here.
We could go for the rowboats, right?
If they're still here, yeah.
You think they wouldn't be? Do you think the others already took them?
I don't know. There should be enough for everybody, but it depends how many people got out, and I don't know. Lee, just a miscellaneous little tidbit. Actually, all three of you probably would have known this. I would have said there's probably like a porthole in each of the rooms you were in. At some point, by the time morning hits and the sun begins to shine a little bit into the rooms, you notice that the Nicodemus sits higher in the water. Meaning,
In a way,
the ascendance is lower.
Okay. In a way that we are sinking, perhaps.
You don't think you're sinking, but it's definitely like there's something heavy. It's either the Nicodemus is either lighter or the Ascendant is heavier because you're not sinking.
And definitely noticing that, Lee is like, you're right. We need to get out of here. We need to get off of the ship. We need to get away from here as fast as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. We need to get out of here. And I think a rowboat is going to be safer than staying on here waiting for one of these things to kill us.
I agree. And I don't think we should go anywhere near the Nicodemus because that ship is cursed.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I have a scalpel.
I have a bone saw.
Let's do this. Let's go.
Okay. Let's go. All right. If it's okay, I'm trying to figure out the best way to get to this next part on the fifth tide. What? You know what? Everyone who's trying to go towards a ship, one of the things, roll me a check and tell me, build it however way you would like to try and get to the sailboats. Whether that's because when you all, regardless if you're with Castor and Hoda's group or with Lee's group, these creatures don't necessarily attack you. They show up from behind corners and begin to move and hunt you down the halls. And it becomes apparent really quickly. They're hurting you.
Is it in like a direction that we understand? Like, is it the direction we want to go in? Or
it's not. Okay. It's deeper into the ship.
So wait, real quickly. The roll we're doing, is that to get to the boats?
I'm going to, yes. If you are going to try to get to the boats, I am going to need some kind of roll.
Okay.
Because regardless of where you go, like if you try to go further up to above deck, taking stairs going up, you meet some kind of resistance. They don't necessarily outright attack you, but there's hint in there. But if you head back in the opposite direction, they follow you more at a distance.
In that case, I got my highest roll was a 5 on a flesh die.
Okay, and what kind of roll were you doing to get to the like what kind of, like how were you doing this? Are you just running, you attacking? Like how were you trying to get there?
So I mean, I'm the navigator. I have a good sense of direction anyway, so I was assuming I would like pick the shortest, quickest, and like places where there are easy rooms to maybe duck into or hide if necessary, but like just get there as fast as possible. She wants to get to the ocean. And I will say I was using the service thing because she's doing a service to her condition.
Okay.
In her mind.
I can say that's fine. What did you get for your deep dice?
2 3s and a 2.
Okay, so you did not increase for your fall. I will get to everyone after everyone rolls. Castor.
So this might, I don't know if this is actually a totally individual role. Like I feel like Castor and Hara are together.
Yes.
And I think Castor would probably be trying to sort of use her her conditions of being able to detect the Henton and that inverted vision thing to almost hunt in reverse, like wherever the Henton are, to like redirect Hara and the rest of their group to try and like flank them and kind of get around them in that way.
Okay, so I will say this will be perseverance, competition. I will allow you to do one. This technically would fall under deep, you using your
Mm-hmm.
powers of the deep. So it would just be going to be the 2 flesh, the 4 fall.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, so I got 2 2s and 2 1s on my fall dice, so that feels good.
Okay.
And then I got a 4 and a 6 on my flesh.
So this is a complete success. Hura got a partial success.
Okay.
So narrate what the two of you do, and I will describe the complication.
I think if Hara is going to try to be like efficient and like navigating us the quickest and shortest way, um, then Castor will just kind of have like a hand on their elbow, and every time that it's like, nope, we have to stop here and we have to go around, just kind of guide them, and try to keep Huda moving forward and using their knowledge of using her knowledge of the ship, uh, but also like sprinkling in when Castor is like, nope, there's gonna be Henton right there. Let's go around this way.
Yeah, I feel like Hura is gonna immediately trust Castor with this. She's in the navigation mode kind of thing. And so like I feel like they would lead the group, like just like the two of them kind of like rushing ahead. And then like Hura will like make sure to like lean in one direction so everybody knows where they're going. And then if she needs to lean a different way, she'll just quickly just do a sharp turn and stuff.
So your consequence with your complication, Huda, is when you try and get into one of those side rooms that you know about. You're the last one in. You're holding the door for everyone else to get in. Sammy, Castor, and Honey going in. It's a very, very close call, and you are able to duck in and also, but not before one of the Henton is able to hurt your leg.
Oh, okay.
Lee.
Hi.
You are towards the hold of the ship, roughly, as you begin to make your way towards the dinghies, the rowboats. As you are beginning to make your way through the halls, the same thing as I mentioned earlier to Huda and Castor's, you realize pretty quickly you're trying to be herded. But as you are leaving at the very start of your journey, you hear whispers again. Those same whispers that you heard earlier with the mumbling words of hopes and desires and helps. But what do you try to do? Where are you going? What are you doing?
I think as Lee hears those whispers, he stops. You know, he was thinking about the plan, thinking about getting into one of the rowboats, leaving with Constance, and in the back of his mind thinking, how long is it going to take her to realize? How long can I hide this? How long can I keep her from seeing the gills on my neck? How long can I keep her from seeing the scales on my legs? How long until whatever is inside of me claws its way out? And he's like right on the cusp of once again asking his saint for help. But then he hears those whispers, and they're talking about wishes and hopes and help. And he moved towards them.
Okay. So Constance, like, there's a like sharp intake of breath as Constance, like, Lee, where are you going?
Constance, get out of here.
She looks back at you, looks towards like where she wants to go, and she runs. All right, we're gonna move into the fifth tide. The fifth and final tide. We're gonna actually start with Huda and Castor again. We're just gonna keep this simple. We're gonna do a final roll for the two of you to get to the rowboats and see if you can get out. When you get to the deck, because you do make it to the deck, just with an injured leg, Hura. There are several rowboats still attached, ready to be released into the water below. You see all of these birds and the masts. Your sails on the Ascendant and the Nicodemus completely shredded. You do see some Henton on the deck. Tell me what you want to do to try and get out of here.
I'm gonna let Castor go first because Third does have something she wants to do.
Okay. I think Castor is really in a bad place right now. And I think they kind of just like run across the deck. They might, I'm not even sure they're really at this point trying to use their sense to know like where any of the Henton are, just avoiding the ones that they can like actually see. But there's also like this other stuff that's going on in their vision right now, and it's really hard for them to concentrate. And so there's just this thought of like escape in their head.
All right, so you're running for it.
Yep.
Okay. Please make your rolls for me and let me know how you're building it. So you got your 4 fall dice.
Yes. Perseverance.
Yep.
Competition, maybe?
Yeah, we can do competition.
Okay. I don't think there's anything else.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. Oh no. Let's see what happens. Okay. Good. None of my fall dice are above my current level of fall.
Oh, it's not against the level of fall. It's against your fall. It's against your flesh dice.
Okay. Well, they're all lower anyway. It's 3 3s and a 2.
All right.
And then my flesh dice is a 6 and a 1.
All right. Describe how you make it to the rowboat.
Just pure luck, honestly. I think that they're just like kind of running pell-mell, maybe even like tripping and like half crawling and reaching out and feeling for like those ropes that tie the dinghy to the side of the ship, and just like accidentally like reaching upon them and scrabbling, trying to undo the knots.
Huda.
Okay, so I feel like Hura's definitely gonna be like following Castor, but I feel like before like anything, I think she's gonna when they get to the deck and like she has this inch, like she can be, oh no, this might Hector, I got rid of everything, right?
Did you get rid of the food that you took from the? Did you get rid of the food that you took from the?
I went through the whole ship. I got rid of everything I could find.
I think you should double check, or else it's gonna follow you.
But then I didn't get rid of Castor. Should I get rid of Castor?
Yeah.
You said the sea is a safe place, so Castor would be safe there, right?
But is Castor safe? Did Castor keep anything on her?
The scalpel. Maybe Castor just keeps stuff on her all the time. You know, they're always organized. So maybe they did. Maybe.
Hurry! Get to the thing. So make a roll to get to the.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. I am not built for this. Can I? Kind of thing.
I think you're just gonna have to roll your
Can I roll service because I'm doing this for the intent?
Yeah, we're almost at the end. Roll for roll.
Yay.
Roll for your service, but you still got to roll your 3. Your 3D.
Yeah. Oh God. All right, so I got a 6 on my flesh, but then oh god, wait 1 second. Oh lord, there's 2 6s on my deep die, and then a 2.
So,
So
since we're at the end, I'm not going to give you another
mm,
condition just because we're at the end. But
yeah,
you succeed. You are able to avoid all of the Henton on the deck and make it to the dinghy with Castor.
yeah.
Unfortunately, Honey falls, and you both hear her scream and get killed by Henton. But Sammy makes it into the dinghy with you. And like while you're fumbling with the knots Castor, he just cuts the line once you're all in there, and you all fall to the ocean, and a little water gets in, but you don't sink, and you're off the ship.
Okay. Castor, 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 Castor.
Yes.
Did did you keep anything from Castor and Simon? Did you guys keep anything from the ship?
No, 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 no.
No. You wouldn't let me go back to my lab, so I don't have anything.
It's all gone. It's okay. You probably find it when okay. You wait. You want to find it, right?
I want to know more about these creatures and I want to be able to warn other people. But
And you want to be safe, right?
yes.
Okay. She tries to push you.
All right.
She tries to push you free.
I think we're gonna leave it this scene
Yeah.
with the to basically all of you fighting not to get pushed over the water, and as like if we're looking above and the camera like slowly pans up underneath the surface, you can see these large fish with large teeth and a stinger at the bottom like circling around your boat.
I'm like trailing blood and stuff as well.
Lee,
Yes.
you're not harassed as you begin to make your way down to the hold of the ship. The farther you go underneath, you smell that acidic smell again, like vinegar, but sharper and tangier. The Henton follow you, but they're no longer like pushing you to where you are going. You're just making your way there yourself. And eventually you make it to the hold where there is a huge hole in the side of the ship, but there's no water coming in. There's like a sludgy green tissue from it. It's dark. It's dark under here. Do you have a lantern, or are you just walking in the darkness?
Just walking in the darkness. There's no need for light right now.
So against the shadows, as there is something in here pulsing and moving, you hear those whispers louder again. And as you continue deeper into the ascendant, you see something big towering to the ceiling. It's pulsing and bulbous. And as you get closer, you see more of these barnacles. A lot of them covering the floor, with something on top of them, with legs. And you also see human faces merging into its flesh, talking about the stars. What do you do?
Lee sits down just in the midst of all of this, and he thinks about the fact that this was supposed to be his last voyage out before he accepted what he'd previously thought as the worst fate possible, caving to his parents' whims and wishes for him. And how all he wanted was to not have anyone have control over him like that. But things have gone too far, and he lays down and waits for what happens next.
You feel this slime begin to cover you, and your mind touches others. They promise you peace, wisdom, and living with everyone else here to feed their queen. And that's the end of Sunken, A Covenant of Silence, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this lovely little game of nautical horror.
Oh
How
man,
did we?
Wow.
How are we? We good? We fun? Was
oh
it fun?
man, I love that. Um,
Yeah, that was great. That
yeah,
was
I
really
thought
great.
I didn't think Castor would go to Slash. I thought the PvP was gonna go like the second like you might have seen me going like I realized it the same second that like Hura did. But I realized in that second she was gonna push Castor into the sea.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
let's go around, say, hey, who we are and where you can find us while I look for a channel to raid. So who would like to go first? Say any projects you're working on and so on and so forth. I will volunteer if I have to.
I can
We'll
jump in
go.
first.
Okay,
Cool,
go
cool,
ahead.
cool.
Go ahead, JD.
So hi, I am JD. I can be found on pretty much all socials at JD, not Jason Dean. I do way too many things, so I'm not going to plug every single project because we would be here all day if I did that. What I will just say is I am most often with Live from the Apocalypse, where I am one of the organizers. We raise money for various charities and aid organizations and good causes all year round. And we are currently about to enter into our 12 games of Hazmas, where we will be finishing out our fundraising goal for Rainbow Railroad and kicking that off with nonstop events and games starting this Sunday. So check us out if you're able. It's a good time. We have some amazing games lined up and amazing players at the tables.
I'm gonna be a little bit quicker, I think, 'cause I don't. So I'm at CT Trajan 1206 on a few places, like I guess Instagram. I'm not that active there. I'm more active on my Tumblr really. But I'm not actually active in many active projects, but I do hope to maybe do more streaming games and stuff. But otherwise I'm just like floating around, having fun. Oh, I will maybe say I have a poetry book. I might as well say it. Called Slices of Sumi. If you like poetry, I wrote that when I was 14, but I'd say it's still good. But yeah.
Support.
Hi, I am Lillie. I go by Elise on Life on Blue Sky, and I'm still hanging on to Twitter, although I haven't really posted there much. I'm also the scribe on Twitch and Discord, and I take part in Girls Run These Worlds. I have my own podcast called Blurred on the Street, where it's three of us talking about being in geeky spaces and current events. I also am on an actual play podcast called Misfits of Space. That is what it sounds like. We're doing Scum and Villainy right now, but we've done Star Wars in the past. Um, and then I have another podcast called Greetings from Stability, which is a horror anthology podcast where we use different systems and play as different characters, but all from one small town. And then coming soon, I will also be in another horror podcast called Left for Undead, which is sponsored by the Bard Rock Network, and that is like a post zombie apocalypse sort of thing, like The Last of Us.
And hello, hi, I'm Mary. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Blue Sky at Archmage of Dice. I'm doing a couple things right now. Mostly the only active game I'm in at the moment is I'm in an Avatar Legends game called Smoke and Ashes over on at Valdurin's channel. I don't remember the exact date, but I know we're off next week and we're going to be back, I think the 23rd. No, these are Friday at 6 p.m. We'll be back the 22nd or 29th. Just check out the socials and stuff like that. And I'm also here on Sword and Key playing in our Horizons Call game, but we will be returning in mid-January. We're taking everything off for the holidays. Just for channel stuff, please check out the rest of the channel. Right now, we have our Humblewood, the Undying Winter, on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. So just check them out tomorrow and check out all these lovely people. And thank you so much for just chilling with us with this amazing game. Also, hi, Mike. This was an amazing system you created. I love it. Go follow Mike. And we will see you around, and thank you helping us raise money for Patio Wear. Bye.